All right, today we are working on if statements. So an if statement can do a lot more than our other equations. We're in our if statement intro document here in the top right where we have some of our rules of if statements. The basic uh, look of it is to have your equal sign, right, to have a formula going. If parenthesis, then you'll have your logical test. Uh, for instance, that could be, if, let's say, F2 is greater than G5, and then from that test, if it's true, then you'll have something happen here. And this can be text that you want to show up. It could be, you could then from there multiply G2 by K11, and you can get it to do whatever to get any certain result that you want. And then also you have it that if it's false, if our logical test, for instance, the greater than example, if G2 is greater than I5, then if that is not true, then what do you want to happen? You could have a text here. It could be, again, another formula or a multiplication, division, whatever it is, you can get it to do that. So basically, you have a lot more flexibility and you can get a lot more things to happen here. So we'll move on and you'll see a lot more as we go. Text must be in quotation marks to be in a formula. So especially for the if true, or it has to be for the if true or if false, you could have it turn out a some text like below. If A9 is greater than 90, then if that's true, the text would show up as you win a trip. And of course, if not, if it's not greater than 90, excuse me, less than, then you lose. And so that can show up. And to get more complex, you have the where if it is true, then you would have uh, another thing happen where you're multiplying, dividing, whatever, and so you can get a lot of different results to happen. Now, the symbols you use, the less than, and I always remember this as it's pointing to the left, so it's less than. Of course, if you can have things flip, but less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So those can be used in these formulas. All right, so let's start to do one. For this cell here, D6, create an if statement in D6 that will say yes if the total is 10 hot dogs or more, and no if the total is less than 10. And here is the formula if stuck. And so when you put it in, if I put the equal sign if, parenthesis, and you can type it in or click on it, C6 is greater than, shift period, or equal to 10, and we're done with our logical test. So then we separate it by a comma. You never put any spaces here, so you don't want comma and space. Excel is very picky about that. We go to the quotation mark, yes. If I were to just type in yes without the quotation mark, it would not work. And the inverse of that, make sure you do not put quotation marks around a number, or it'll just show up as text, and it won't be a true numeral that you can use for other formulas. Comma, still no spacing here, no spaces in. And if not, we want no. And now to close this up from this parenthesis here, we close it up. And now we can hit enter. We have our answer. We can fill it down, and it tells us that. So it looks like we see who moves on to the next round in this situation. And that's the basic layout of an if statement. From here, if and statements, this is something we are not going to do in class, but there's many different variations. You can do if and, if or. If you take more Excel classes beyond this one, you might be doing those. But it is something that's out there that you can use if you are troubleshooting something else. And so this long statement here, you see the if and, so basically if both of these parameters are met, then you have it say yes or no. You can have if or, and it hits either of these, yes or no. And so from here, I'm just going to take this and put it in, and I'm going to fill it down then, and you can see it works there. So we're going to do more if statements after this. This is just your basic example, and that is our if statement intro document.